Good morning, all. Excuse the way I look. Um, Basically been up all night and all day. This has pretty much consumed my life for the last couple of weeks. But this goes out, shout out to my family. Um, as we all know, my mother, Sheila Bays, passed away December the 14th, 2018. And wasn't even buried 2019. But as you all know, I wasn't there for my mother's funeral. It wasn't the time, it just wasn't the time. But before she was even put into the ground, my sister decided she was going to take over everything, and it was to nothing as to our mother's wishes of way things were to be. Um, Needless to say, as I'm en route to get to my mother, um, as you all know, I live out of state, and it's about a 14-hour drive for me. I did get to talk, however, I did get to talk to Mom before she did get taken to the hospital. Um, I feel like my sister, I begged her, told her I was on my way. I was like 4 hours out still, driving time to get there at the hospital. And I feel like my sister did it on purpose, went ahead and called the rest of the family in to say their goodbyes. And yes, I do feel like she did that on purpose without me being there, because she did it within an hour's time of me last talking to her and told her how far out I was. Yes, it was my mother's wishes not to be put on any type of a ventilator to even go to the hospital, but yet it was done. And Stacy, my sister, Mom would have wanted to wait until I got there at least. She was calling out for me, as no doubt Stacy knew of. And I know Stacy did do that before I got there. That's one. Let alone, as soon as I do get there, um, my daughter and her husband and children live at my mother's, have for several years, but then moved out back in the summer of 2018 to get their own place. And November, about October, about Halloween of 2018, my mom's health got worse. She was falling down, no doubt, after Thanksgiving, very weak. And Mom was very stubborn headed. She did not want to go to the hospital, to the doctor, or nothing. Stacy, my sister, no doubt, right after Thanksgiving, my daughter was no longer employed. So, me on the phone with my daughter as my sister's begging her to go ahead and move in back in with my mom so somebody could be there to take care of her. And Sarah, of course, no doubt, jumped on that because our mother, as Nana, um, was falling down and hurting herself pretty bad. She had cut her head open and such things like that because she was falling down. She was so weak. So Sarah and her husband, Sarah Gonzalez and Rowdy Smith, Sarah Smith as well, decided to, not decided, they jumped on it. They went ahead and just moved on in to take care of Nana. Stacy wasn't going to do it, or me being out of state. And they broke their lease to where they were renting at to get moved in right away to take care of Nana. I never once, my mother would have told me. In fact, Mom did tell us that it would be fine for them to even live there after she did was deceased, as long as they paid the taxes. Um, this has been a talk for over a year. Me, my mother, and Stacy sat down at the table back in the summertime of 2018, went over this. Um, her leaving the deed of the house to me and Stacy. Neither one of us wanted it. I had no intentions of selling it. Mom wishes were to keep it. And because she, for be damned, she was going to get rid of it. That was a part of our father who passed 30 years ago. Okay, so when Mama passed, um, I decided to come back home because to go against our mother's wishes of how her burial and everything was to be done, her pallbearers and such like that. Stacy was having it her way, and regardless our mother's wishes, the way she wanted it, of course. She's the big sister. It's got to be her way. Now it's all in her hands. Um, Mother was buried the 19th. Her funeral was the 19th. On the 17th of that night, my sister asked Sarah and Rowdy what were they going to do now about living arrangements. And Sarah said, that they were going to stay there in Mom's house. And then about 3 days after Mom's funeral, she come back over and told them that her rent hadn't been paid. She didn't know what they were going to do. And Sarah just said, well, you know, wasn't going to tell her to move in there with them. So the deed to the house being left to me and my sister, no doubt with no will, already know I'm going to have to fight for it because Stacy's already showing out and saying the things that she is to Sarah about where her and Rowdy were going to do now for their living arrangements. Totally shocked because when Mom hadn't even been put in the ground yet, Stacy had told Sarah that they weren't going to have to move or anything, of course, just pay the taxes. But then on the other hand, I called Stacy and asked her, what do you mean? What is Sarah and Rowdy going to do? They're not moving, Stacy. They're going to stay there. And so therefore, Stacy wouldn't talk to me. She stopped it now, crying and begging Sarah in the meantime to don't let me come in between their relationship. Wow. Okay. I think she's done this on her own from the very get-go. I let her know that I wasn't selling the house. Well, Stacy leaves. She continues to go over there, demanding they pay her money. And as you all know, Mark Smith, our cousin, was living there with Mom and was paying her $100 a week to stay there to rent a room. Was demanding his money, and Sarah called me. We were on live on speakerphone, and I told Stacy that why would she think Mark needed to pay her the rent? He didn't live with her. Sarah and Rowdy were paying the bills. He needs to pay them. Continue it just like if it was Mom's. And Stacy wasn't having that. Told Mark that he needed to leave because he was selling the house. She was selling the house. Anyway, we deal with that. Mark's scared, so Mark leaves. No, wait. Let me back up. A couple of days afterwards, Stacy brings over a black couple to show the house as if she's selling it. Sarah and Rowdy, no doubt, opened the door, let them in. Sarah called me, of course, in the middle of all this. So I told Sarah, put me on speakerphone, told Stacy to get the hell out of that house, that I wasn't selling it. No need for her to be showing it to nobody. So she told me to, you know, screw off. So I said, all right, Sarah, let her do her thing. Let her feel like she's in charge. As we all know, that's all Stacy's ever wanted, to be in charge. She's big sis. Um, they leave, so I scramble in, seeing what I can do. Get on the phone, talk to a couple of legal advisors, call the police department, let them know what was going on. We haven't even been to probate court. There's no will. They informed me that it is totally illegal. So if it was to happen again, to call them and they would get her out of there. After initial text and phone calls to Sarah, Stacy did, demanding rent money, come over a couple of more times. In the middle of all this, now mind you, Mother didn't pass until December 14th. Sarah and Rowdy just moved in the first part of December. Naturally, the passing of Mom and all this, we hadn't even got to grieve over yet. Stacy decides to go and have all the utilities turned off, get them out of Mom's name, which we were a step ahead of her already because we had already come to the agreement, Sarah and Rowdy with me, to January 1st to pay to get all the utilities out of Mom's name and put into theirs. That was already set in stone. But Stacy, before then, it was in fact 2 days before. So we're going to say right on the 1st of January. Stacy had all the utilities turned off out of Mom's name, but illegally. That's where we got her there too. She did it all illegally because she had to tell them all that no, nobody lived in the home. So that's all documented as well. So, and it's fraud because it's government, water, electric, gas. Needless to say, they all come to turn the utilities off, and she didn't succeed. They couldn't do such a thing since everything was paid, and people were living in the home. So she didn't succeed, but now she thinks she did. 2 days later, Stacy comes to the house demanding rent. And in the meantime, within these 2 days of the utilities being turned off, or she had tried to have them turned off illegally, I let her know that. And she told me to F off, that they're getting out of that house because she's got it sold. And I just asked her, I said, Stacy, what's the deal? This wasn't the agreement at all before Mom got sick. That you just said, I witnessed it, that they weren't going to have to move. They can stay there as long as they pay the taxes. What happened? I got it sold, she said. I said, that's part of my house too. And I'm not selling the house. So we will fight. We will go to probate court. We will fight. I'm doing Mother's wishes. So then she proceeds to tell me that Mom did not want Sarah and Rowdy there. I already know that was a bunch of BS because Mama would have told me so. Mama herself would have told me so. Yeah, the grandbabies got on her nerves, but she was sick. And Stacy, you got on her nerves, okay? Let's clear that up. Okay, so that passes by. This is what I've been dealing with. No grievance. I haven't got to grieve for my mom yet at all because I've been dealing with a snake in the grass big time. Um, Here it is. A bunch of going back and forth. Letting Stacy know, they can be paying rent. They give you half and give me half every month. That'd be $500 a month. Let's make them pay $500 a month. They pay all the bills, Stacy. You get $250, I get $250. My $250, I will save up and I'll pay the taxes at the end of the year. Now, where's that fair? It's not. But I tried. I tried 2 different times. I got no response out of her. So then we didn't hear of Stacy. Sarah didn't hear of Stacy, see nor hear for 2 weeks. I told Sarah, something's up. Something's up. Because I haven't heard from her either. And she did not respond to my agreement with them paying the $500. She get $250 and I get $250 and I pay the taxes. She didn't agree to it. No response at all. So that 2 weeks, I told Sarah, something's up. She's up to something. This is odd because we were hearing from her every day, or Sarah and Rowdy were seeing her to get out, start paying rent. She wanted the rent, or she's got it sold. They needed to leave. It's all been done illegally. As I said, she quit talking with me anyway, and so 2 weeks go by. Here she comes. Went into the home, pretty much stole because she not only just took what was hers, it was our things that mother, like the Chevron little race cars and stuff that's been mom's held on to for years and years because Stacy and the boys were in New Jersey. So we decided if they can't, hold on to theirs and hold on to Anthony and Sarah and Miranda's. Just something mom did. They're collectors, and she collected every one of them for 6 grandchildren for every year. Stacy decided to take what was her boys and what was my kids.